Blog Talk Radio.
Well, welcome everyone to the Divas That Care Network. My name is Candace Gish, and I am the host and the founder of the Divas That Care. I am just so excited that each and every one of you has tuned in today. You know, our program now has 11 hosts, and we have the great opportunity, and we're very grateful that we're able to interview women from around the globe now. And so I hope that you're able to check out all of our other shows on the Divas That Care. You can also check us out on iTunes when you are driving. So anyways, let's get started, everybody. I have an amazing guest today. You know, this young lady is doing so many great things, and she is calling into my station from Australia, so I'm really excited. Her name is Jemima Hutton. Well, Jemima, welcome to this program.
Hi, Candace. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we had some technical difficulties getting you on today, so I do apologize. We didn't have a lot of chance to chat before our program, but you know what? I am very excited to get to know you, and if you don't mind, could you spend a couple of minutes telling us about yourself?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I'd love to. So my name's Jemima. I am the current founder and presenter at Dyslexia Demystified, which is an organisation I set up in 2018, actually. So we've only been running for just over 12 months. But essentially, Candace, I'm dyslexic myself, and I went through the Australian school system, and I'm not quite sure what it's like over there in America, but most certainly in Australia, dyslexic students are not currently very well supported. And I was lucky enough, I guess, to have two parents as educators, and that meant that I was, able to get a lot of support from home. And I ended up, I guess, going along the journey of initially being not a great student throughout my schooling life. You know, I really struggled at school. Reading and writing are certainly not my strengths. But I ended up getting to the point where I, wanted to achieve this goal of actually getting into medicine, because I'm really, really passionate about biological sciences. And my lovely parents, bless them, they I guess, raised a very stubborn child, and were prepared to do whatever it took, I guess, to support me to get there. And by the end of my year 12, I ended up actually, doing really well and achieving that goal of getting into medicine. And after those sort of 2 years of really hard work and a lot of, sort of reflection about, my learning and that sort of stuff, I kind of thought to myself, well, what about all those other dyslexic students out there who are not as fortunate as I and might need their own support and their own advocate. So I guess that's essentially what I'm doing with my business at the moment is it's a completely student-led organization, where I guess a social enterprise who, is for dyslexic students and run by dyslexic students. And we advocate for their needs. And so we do that primarily through, school-based presentations and also through one-on-one mentoring as well. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And I do want to apologize. I pronounced your name incorrectly, and I'm sorry about that. Jemima, right?
Oh, no worries at all. It's Jemima, yes. But it's an easy dyslexic mistake to make, so it's, I feel like it's quite appropriate.
I just love it. And, when I was reading about a little bit about your bio, and I found this quite fascinating. I was actually talking to my daughters, and our program started because I wanted to be able to interview amazing women around the world. And it was basically, for myself, I was being selfish because I wanted my daughters, because I homeschool 4 girls in Canada, and I wanted them to be able to listen to amazing women like yourself and what you're going through. And I'm reading your bio, and one of my daughters is also dyslexic. So I found this I really want to chat with you because of that. But another reason is because I have 3 other daughters that play water polo and swim. And I just thought, oh my goodness, this amazing woman is doing so many great things. So for any of our listeners, you play water polo, and I thought that was absolutely amazing, because before we had actually gotten into that sport, not a lot of people knew what it was that I was around. So it was just a great little thing when I was reading about you. Like this was meant to be, and I was really excited about that.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, I think, we always need more water polo players, and I, if your daughters are listening, welcome to the club. If you're dyslexic, I think it's important to sort of embrace the dyslexic family. But yeah, I guess for me, I do have quite a rich sporting background. I was initially a sort of national level swimmer and that sort of thing, and and then eventually switched over to water polo. And for me, I guess it was probably easier to identify as the sporty kid than as the kid who couldn't read. So,
Yes.
it was sort of a crucial part of my journey, yeah.
And it's one of those ones that you love to share with others because it is so inspiring. I absolutely love it here. Well, let's talk about this, because when I went through your website, and you know what, I want you to, for any of our listeners, can you please just share the website so while they're listening to the program, they can check it out at the same time?
Yeah, absolutely. So my website is www.dyslexiademystified.org. And we also run a YouTube channel, which most of our information is actually delivered through, because, I think it's sort of ironic that in this world, a lot of the supportive resources out there for dyslexics are not actually accessible because they're all written down. So I guess a lot of what I do is, trying to make those resources accessible. And so a lot of my resources are in video form, and they can be found on YouTube under my channel, which is also called Dyslexia Demystified. So people can absolutely go along and have a look at that as well.
I love it. And what a brilliant way to do it, because I think that's the challenges that we do face, isn't it? And being a parent of a child with dyslexia, I understand, because I know that she struggles and tries to go through this and tries to find things. And she's very much a visual person. So now she goes out and she tries to locate things and watch things to teach herself how to do so many things out there. And it's always inspiring, because the more that I watch her, the more I'm inspired by her for what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, along my journey, it's definitely become a lot about self-teaching, and that's unfortunately probably due to the gaps in the current education system to support these students. And unfortunately, we do, sort of have to find our own ways of learning. And me myself, I'm also quite a visual learner and quite kinesthetic as well. Quite hands-on. And I think fostering that sort of that love of learning and also fostering that sort of ability to critically reflect and evaluate your own sort of learning potential and the ways that you learn best is, a pretty key part of my schooling journey. Yeah.
So can I ask you, do you do this basically in a local area, or do you do this throughout Australia? So
at the moment, I initially started the business out of Melbourne, which is where I'm originally from. But then after I moved to Queensland to study medicine, it sort of became a bit of an issue. So I decided I would push the expansion a bit early as such, and ended up expanding into Queensland as well. And so I'm primarily operating out of Queensland and Victoria at the moment. But I guess I started to sort of delve into the international sort of stuff as well. I did a bit of work with Japan last year and that sort of thing. So, sort of dabbling in little bits and pieces, sort of, it's very organic, I think, the business process. And I just sort of jumped in with 2 feet and found myself here, I feel like sometimes. So, that's sort of the way it ended up.
Well, I love it. And the Demystified Care is an international and global program. Why I'm asking is because a lot of our listeners are from around the world, and I want to know, you do have a program that you do a lot of one-on-one student mentoring. Can our listeners get a hold of you if they have children or they know somebody that would require your services?
Yeah, absolutely they can. A lot of my, I'm obviously living in Brisbane at the moment for my study, but pretty much all of my clients at the moment are still based in Melbourne or around the world. And I do a lot of mentoring over Skype or Zoom or any of those sort of platforms. And, in fact, kids actually end up often preferring to do it through one of those platforms, preferring to do it via technology, I think, because it's not quite as intimidating. But, yeah, most certainly people can still access that mentoring service, even internationally.
Oh, I love it. Do you have like a group for a lot of these kids to be a part of so that they're meeting other students, or is this kind of you do just the one-on-one?
So most definitely, I think, where I want to end up eventually is, getting it to a place where, we have a really large online platform of dyslexic students, and at the moment, we're sort of getting there. But at the moment we're sort of primarily using our YouTube to access those students, and also our Instagram and Facebook as well. So people can find us at Dyslexia Demystified on Facebook, and also Dyslexia Demystified on Instagram. And we're finding that a lot of young people are particularly trying to access us through Instagram, just because it is, obviously a lot more visual and it's, a really good visual platform for these students. Yeah.
And a lot of them we're finding are using more the Instagram anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Facebook is sort of an older people's generation, sort of platform. So, I guess that's sort of what we've chosen to go with. Yeah.
I love it. That is brilliant. So tell me a little bit about the stuff that you do with parents, because I know that this is a completely different part of it, but I know a lot of parents are constantly searching. They're trying to, learn more. So how do you help the parents?
I think that's a really good question. And I think particularly early on, it was important for us to kind of identify our niche in terms of where we could help people. And we absolutely, we want to help our parents and our teachers, and that's, become a really vital part of our business. We run a lot of community-based events where we, access parent communities through schools and hold sort of a community event in the town hall as such, and just sort of invite all these families along. And we do have a lot of parent presentations that we do through the school system, but we also, do one-on-one parent consultations as well. So, we have that student mentoring service of, spending time one-on-one with the student and helping them to find the strategies and technologies, that will best suit them as a learner. But we most definitely also have a parent consultation service, and that essentially will mean parents, essentially talking to us as almost like a bit of a translation service between us and their young person, at home. What's sort of going on with them, if they're displaying particular behaviours, where might those behaviours be coming from? What are they sort of going through emotionally, through this whole learning journey of theirs? And that's become a really critical part that a lot of our parents can really touch base with. But I guess, at the moment in Australia, and I can only speak for Australia, unfortunately, but, there tends to be a lot of support already existing for dyslexic or parents of dyslexic students. But there's not a lot of support for the students themselves, and that's sort of where we've diversified the market. Yeah.
Wow. How do you find the time to do all this? I know that you're in university, and, how do you have time?
That's a very good question. I guess I don't have time is the point. No, that's not true. I think, scheduling has become a really important part of my life, and, being, I guess, naturally quite a disorganized person as a dyslexic is, my mum was really quite stern in making sure that I was, having those key organizational skills in place. And it takes a lot of time management to be able to, run a business and have a full-time study load as well. And my life is a little bit crazy in the fact that, I'm sure a lot of business owners can sort of relate to this, but, sort of 1 minute I'm running to a meeting, and the next minute I'm running to hospital to go deliver a baby, and that's literally what it's like for me. So, it's a very exciting life, Candice, but probably not a sustainable one. But lucky enough for me, I've got enough university breaks and things in the year to sort of keep me grounded and be able to spend time on the things that I'm passionate about and want to spend time on.
Oh, wow. I love it. I love what you are doing. You are such an inspiration. You're an inspiration to your generation at the same, and not just to them, but to all of us, because when I listen to Amazing and I call you Young Divas, it gives me hope for the future, because I listen to you and all the things that you're doing and how you're helping and inspiring so many people out there. And, I want to thank you so much for doing that.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. I'm still getting used to, I think, accepting compliments and that sort of thing. To me, I just started out, with me in a PowerPoint essentially, and it wasn't a great PowerPoint back in its first stages. So, to sort of be talking to you is a little surreal at the moment because, I guess in my head I'm getting a bit of that imposter syndrome that I'm still, that 18-year-old back with her PowerPoint speaking to a whole lot of staff who just unknowingly rocked up to my PD. So, it is quite surreal to be talking to you at this moment.
Oh, well, you know what? It is my pleasure. I was really excited when I had the opportunity to hear about you and your story. And I thought, you're exactly the amazing young woman that we want to showcase on our program. And it's because of you that we are going to continue to do this. Our show has been running now for 9 years, and I just absolutely love it. And every time I have the opportunity to interview, I get more inspired and more empowered by all of what you're doing. So, you know what, Gemma, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And, to anyone out there who is, an aspiring, young female entrepreneur wanting to make, a genuine difference in the world, I think, it's so important that we share our stories and uplift others as well because, in this sort of cutthroat world of business, I think the previous model was to, sort of every man for himself, I guess. And I think in this changing new dynamic world of business, it's going to be, every woman and man, collaborating together and uplifting each other. So, it's really great what you're doing, and I'm sure it will inspire a lot of young females out there.
Well, thank you so much. Well, then I was going to just ask you, what would you love to leave our listeners today? But I think you really did do that. And I hope that you have a chance to join our Facebook group. We have a tribe there, Changemakers Cafe, for any of the amazing women out there that want to lock arms with other women. That's our group that you can do that. So I hope you you're a part of that and you come and join us there.
Absolutely, I will. I'll join today. It's very spontaneous, but that's sort of what you've got to be in this world. I think jump in with 2 feet, so I'll be there.
Oh, wonderful. Well, and we will definitely connect you with all of our tribe of empowering, inspiring women. So thank you again. And you know what? I want to thank you, all of you, for tuning into the Divas That Care podcast. As I said, we have 11 hosts now on the Divas That Care, and we're so excited when we have the opportunity to be inspired and empowered by our guests. So I hope that you had a great time today. I hope that you go out there and do something kind for somebody else. And remember, you can always listen to us on iTunes and at care.com. So thank you to each and every one of you that tuned in today, and thank you to my amazing guests. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye for now.